back to the fourth episode of the Unscriptd podcast.
Last episode, we were grateful enough to have our first special guest on, Reece Gordon. We learned a bit about his past and his journey, and I suppose his involvement in our journey the last few months. So,
let's get into it, baby.
Absolutely. So, in this episode, we are going to go a bit more into depth about what it's actually like, and we have such a strong messaging around authenticity. So, we want to talk about what it's really like to have a business as 18-year-olds.
That's right. A lot of people get caught up in this false narrative of the online businesses, the entrepreneurs who are all across social media who show this luxurious lifestyle, time and location freedom. But the truth is, having a business, it doesn't matter what age you are, what stage in life you're at, is fucking hard work.
It is. And it's not... I actually made a video about this the other day, and I specifically filmed a day in the life that was boring, and we didn't have a million things on, because that's what most of the days look like. We can have days where we have multiple shoots booked, and we go to meet with all these different people, and it looks like we're doing sick and so fucking fun, but a lot of the days, we're just on the laptops, just grinding, doing all the boring work that needs to get done.
That's right. It's to get anywhere of monumental value, you have to go through many monotonous days of just repetitive behaviors over and over and over.
That's right. And what comes with the business and owning a business is the highs and lows, just like anything, right? Like, you go through the good periods, you go through the bad periods.
Yep, the highs and lows, the expectations, the way people view you is different. You know, people look at us because we're so young, and because we have a business, and especially because we create so much content around it, because we have such good ideas around branding. Being a media agency, it makes sense. And a lot of people just associate that every single day we're fucking just going to that next level, we're leveling up every single day, which isn't true. We take some backward steps here and there.
Oh, absolutely. There's been so many times where we've gone, like months, and we're doing all this work, and we're not going anywhere. Like, what's going on? We feel like we're in the biggest rut, and then we have a good week where it all comes to fruition, and we go, oh fuck, we're on fire here. And we talk about it all the time. There's just this big cycle of emotions, or not emotions, but just how we feel about everything and how it's going.
And not only is it a cycle of emotion, but it's a cycle of action. Like, we'll have cycles where we chase clients heaps, like, oh, fuck, we need to make more money, We go and get all these clients, and then we'll get them on board, and then we're like, okay, now we've got too many clients, let's take a step back, let's handle this. And then we'll find ourselves, oh shit, we need to get more clients, and it's the cycle of life, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you do, you go through different stages where you sometimes you don't even need to get what you think you need, but you need to chase it at least, and you get there and you realize, okay, well, now I've got to do something different. It happens all the time.
100%. Let's talk about getting paid, because we actually had a good
we don't have any experience in this.
Yeah, sorry, can't speak on the topic.
Listen to someone else talk about this.
We actually had a meeting with one of our mentors this morning, and he was like, you guys aren't paying each other, it's outrageous. And it is. We are bare minimum. But compared to a normal job, you can work as hard as you want to work, whatever, at a job, and at the end of the week, you can rest knowing you have money coming in the bank. You can
Absolutely
do a set amount of work, and get paid for that work. With a business, it's the complete opposite. You do double, up to probably 5 times the amount of work that you would work in a job, and you're not guaranteed to get paid. And if you're starting a business, you're probably not going to get paid for a long time.
And not only do you not get paid, but you bring so much more stress on yourself, and you bring so much more... Like, there's times when you may be doing something for hours and hours and hours, and then you get to the end and like, fuck, well, I've got to start this again. Like, something's gone wrong, or you might have been doing the wrong thing. So not only are you going double time to not get paid, sometimes you're doing it and then having to fucking start again. It's an interesting one, because people don't like to speak about these things, because this doesn't fit into the what looks good on social media narrative. Like, no one likes telling the story of the fucking boring shit. And people like telling the story of the hardships over many, many years, but a good example is the Rocky cutscene. That lasts for 2 minutes where he's fucking in the trenches, he's training for his fight against Apollo Creed, and everyone's watching that, getting hyped up, like, yeah, this is sick, like, he's working so hard, he's rising from the depths of fucking nowhere to being this superstar. And the reality is, yeah, in the movie it lasts 2 minutes, but in real life that can last 5, 10, 15 years, which we have no idea about because we're so fresh into it. But
Young, yeah.
our cutscenes definitely lasted more than 2 minutes, and there's no one fucking cheering.
Exactly.
Well, there's a few people cheering. Shout out to you real people. But.
Yes, 100%. And back to the working, essentially, with not knowing when you're going to get paid. Are we up to 8 months now?
I feel like we started around like the 12th of February or something. So we're
close.
Yeah, we're pulling up to 9 months. This is the 11th month of the year. Yeah, so
time flies.
Yeah, literally.
Time
Coming
flies.
to our 9th month now, and
But anyways, where I was going is, even though we have a little bit of income coming in now, we're still so far away from making good money to say we are making good money. Like,
yes.
We have a little bit of money to provide for the business and pay for the thing and pay ourselves what we need to get by, essentially, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm cheering about that. It's probably better than a lot of business owners do in their first year, which is we're very happy about. But to where we want to be, we are absolutely lying if we were telling people that we're making good money, because that's far from the truth.
Correct. And Dan pointed that out this morning. He was saying that it's all good and well to tell people you're a business owner making 20 grand a month, but if your expenses are 18 grand, you're only making 2. And
Correct.
For us, it's not quite that high. Like, our expenses don't eat away all our profit. However, that profit that we do make just goes straight back into the business, developing our systems, getting more staff, which you're looking to get now, and running ads for ourselves, buying new equipment, like subscriptions. There's fucking heaps of shit. Like, we'll think we're on a roll, we minimize expenses, minimize all this stuff here, and then something new pops up, something else that is necessary that we need comes around, so we're going to throw some money at that as well.
Now, I know there's a quote by Jimmy Carr that you wanted to speak about in regards to this. So, lead ahead.
So, the quote is, everybody is jealous of what you've got, but nobody is jealous of how you got it. And to break that down, it's everyone wants the success of having a profitable business. Everyone wants the nice cars. Everyone wants to be invited to the big networking parties. Everyone wants to be rich and living like a king. But nobody wants to be sitting behind their computer, writing in the books at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, 7 days a week for 5 to 10 years. And the truth is, without the training ground, you don't get the trophies.
Correct. What was it? I can't remember who said it, but someone pretty cool, someone pretty big said the trophies or the championships or the premierships are not won on game day. They're won in the thousands of hours.
I believe many champions would.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one person that would have said it.
I might have said it, but...
No, it's true. And like you said, we were last night up to, probably went to bed just after midnight, planning out all the content and doing all just boring laptop tasks, when we very much would have rather been in bed by then and having a nice sleep and the things you have the ability to do when you have a job. And there's another quote that says, there's no perfect way to live your 20s. You're either an underlived... I'm going to fuck this up.
I fucked it last week.
Jesus.
You're either an underlived 20-year-old and a skilled 30-year-old, or you're an underskilled 30-year-old and... Oh, fuck. Fuck this quote.
But basically, you live up your 20s and then you're broke in your 30s and you're underskilled, or you work and grind in your 20s and then by the time you're 30, you're underlived and you don't have the experiences potentially everybody else does. So it goes both ways, right? Like, having the business and doing all the things that we're doing, we're throwing out the window some opportunities for us to go out and party and go on overseas holidays and do all these fucking sick things that we would love to be doing, but we're sacrificing that right now to be able to be not underskilled 30-year-olds, or
Absolutely.
being able to do that on a larger scale later down the line. And once again, we've spoken about this many times, and we have nothing against anybody that chooses the other way to do it. Like, there's no right way to live life, right? You can do it whatever the fuck you want to do, but you've got to sacrifice one or the other. You can't have both.
Absolutely. And going back to what you said, even in the line of work that we have, being a service-based business, it's not even a matter of not wanting to do things, but we have a duty of care. Like, if we decide to switch off because we can't be fucked and we're tired, we've got clients that we're letting down. So we're not just doing it for ourselves and to build up our business, but it's to service these people who are paying their good, deserving money to receive our services. Like, us dropping the ball can let them down in their business. So we essentially, even if we cannot be fucked and are just having a shit day, having a shit week, whatever it is, and just don't want to do it, we have standards to withhold and we have to rise to them. Otherwise...
And that's the other thing, going back to, and once again, comparing to having a job or whatever. When you work for a big company and you call in sick, that is fine, it happens, right? And it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. The job will still get done by somebody else. You can still rock up the next day and all is fine. When you have a business, especially a small business, where for us, we are the only people providing the services and we do everything, right? If we were to not fucking feel like doing something, the job doesn't get done, the clients don't get their service, the thing that they're paid for, we lose clients, like, it all falls apart.
Absolutely.
And it's not a matter of just not wanting to do things, it's a matter of you can't not do the thing.
Correct. And that's a burden you put on your shoulders when you start up a business. Because the truth is, and what everyone strives for and why everyone thinks, I'd love to start my own business, is like, I want to set this up so I can have all these people managing it for me, fulfilling the services. I can sit back, put my feet up, and don't fucking
nice.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. That's where our future resides. Like, that's where we're aiming for, and that's where we'll get the business to. However, with anything you do in life, you can't. Okay, I'll put it like this: you can't leave high school and rock up to a job site and say, "Okay, boys, I'm now your supervisor. You go do this, you go do this, I run the company." You've got to go and do your apprenticeship. You got to go fucking put the work in for years after years, be the fucking shit kickers, doing the shit jobs, in order to finally earn yourself the ability to be able to be in charge of things. And that's where we're at currently. We're doing everything because we don't have the ability to have people manage it for us. We've got to be on the ground, running, editing, doing everything.
That's right. You've got to start from the bottom. And anybody that gets shooed straight to the top in anything is not only
a pussy,
no, but they're more so at a deficit because, one, you miss out on learning all of the things that you need to learn to be able to be in those positions. And I don't know where I was going with the second point, to be completely
well,
honest.
okay, think about it like this, right? If you put two boxers up next to each other, you've got one boxer who he's grinded his whole life, and his goals are set on the world championship, and he's grinding to go through the ranks. He's getting better every single fight. He loses, he wins, he becomes this fucking warrior who's worthy of this podium. And then you've got this other boxer who hasn't had too many professional fights. They qualified to a suffice level, nothing special. If they get thrusted straight to that world title fight, and they get in the ring with this fucking boxer who's had to go through all the hardships, the triumphs, the failures, the setbacks, all that shit, he will get eaten alive. And my point is, you cannot be at the top, because to be at the top, you have to have taken all the lessons and everything from the bottom and throughout the ranks to be worthy of the spot at the top. Because people think as being at the top as this fucking all sunshine and rainbows, you're the best, everything's easy. But the truth is, when you're the number one guy, that's when you've got the most pressure on you. That's when you've got the biggest expectations. You have to deliver this quality. You have to be at your best all the time. And people who haven't gone through it just simply cannot withstand that. So there is value in coming from the bottom and doing all this shit.
100%. And you have to be content with sucking at the start. Whatever it is that you get into, you're going to suck at it. And like going into business, we sucked at it. We're a little bit better.
No, we don't suck. We're great at it.
But you've got to be open and understanding and accept that you're going to be shit.
Absolutely.
And you are going to learn. You're going to get better. You fuck up. And that's just how you progress in anything. It's business, it's sports, it's fucking anything.
Yeah, and a great example of something that directly applies to that is the first ever piece of content that we filmed.
Oh, Jesus. This will come out one day.
One day, if this video gets 100 million likes and 100 million comments, we'll share the video because it is fucking terrible.
Outrageous.
So poor.
I
love it.
I'd never want to watch it again. Never want to watch it again.
Yeah, it scares me.
But anyways, that's the point. You have to start somewhere. You have to do shit stuff. Even our content still is not the best, but it's getting better because we're putting it out there. We sucked in the beginning. Okay, this works. People don't like this. Whatever. You got to do the reps. Exactly. You got to do the reps to get better. And this leads into something that I wanted to speak about for a while, which is you have to have your mindset and mentality so locked on what you want and have the ability to learn and be wrong and put yourself in situations that suck and pull the positives out of things. You have to, your mentality and your mindset in doing hard things is what makes or breaks people. That's what allows us to do what we've done. If we were closed-minded and didn't, leave the opportunity or give ourselves the opportunity to learn things and put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, we would not be anywhere near where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in today's day and age, I feel like the large demographic of young males, everyone wants to be successful, everyone wants to be an alpha male, everyone wants to have high status, high power, all of that stuff, right? And the thing that separates the people who truly get that from the people who get nowhere near it is the people who understand what it takes, as you just touched on. Yes, you have to go into it wanting to be the best. And to be the best, you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to be wrong. And the people who don't get it are the ones that they want to be the best, meaning they cannot be wrong. And they're closed-minded on things. So they can't alter their perspective on something because it's clearly this way. If it's not that way, the system's wrong. So in any it doesn't matter if it's sport, in a relationship, anything in life, if you want to be better and be the best at something, you have to be open to adaptation and just the willingness to be wrong. But then from that, being wrong is one thing, but then having the ability to then change and correct yourself from that and then become right. That's what curates winners.
Yeah. And not only that, even the ability for more minor things, like, as I briefly mentioned, taking the positives out of negative situations all the time is such another mindset hack that you need to have. Like, there is so many shit things that happen when especially having a business. You lose a client, you don't make any progress on a goal, you have this big bill that needs to be paid. All of these negative things that happen and can compound and can make your life absolutely shit, that can ruin it. Like, you can get caught up in that so easily and it ruin your momentum. It can ruin how you look at, going about new business. You have to be able to flip those negative things that happen into positive things. Okay, this client left. Why did this client leave? This is maybe positive. Now I know that this way of providing that service is not the best way to do it. I can do it better. Like, taking positives out of all the negative situation, I think, from our experience, is something that I feel like we're really good at, and understanding that everything that seems bad is not always bad.
Yeah. And this comes into the literal definition of learning, which is same circumstance, different behavior. So the example I'll give you is, if we have a client and we provide a service in one manner and that client's not happy with it, so they leave. And then the next client comes along and we apply, so the same circumstances, we're in the same location, we're providing the exact same service, and we don't change anything about it. We provide the exact same thing we did for this last client. And this new client also leaves because they're not happy. That's not learning. to learn, you have to be able to do the same things, but take on external positive and negative feedback from that scenario. So from that client, we have to learn, okay, why didn't this work? What can we change? What can we improve? So then when the next client comes on, we're same circumstance, however, we're providing the service different. We might tweak a few things, and that's how you learn. You're doing the same thing, but you're behaving in a different way to cultivate a different result.
100%. With the mindset that you need to have to run a business, discipline is a huge part, right? And it's probably the most cliche, overused word in the entrepreneurial online content space. Whatever, everybody talking about discipline, but it's probably also one of the biggest foundational assets that you can have. In that, if you can have the discipline, and this is not just business, you need to have the mindset and discipline in going to the gym every day. You need to have the discipline to eat well. You need to have the discipline to do healthy habits like reading and ice baths and cold showers, or whatever your good habits look like. And then again, translating that into the business world, which is having the discipline to work until the work is done.
Correct. And discipline's such a bigger topic than just this. Like, discipline goes back millions of years, and if you think evolutionary, in the beginning of time when the first creatures were around, if everything was easy to attain, then nothing would function, because not everyone can have the same thing and then it have value, and then not everyone can have the same thing also because there isn't just an abundance of absolutely everything. So the reason that discipline is so important is because in the world that we live in, and this goes like millions of years, good things are hard to obtain, because otherwise society nothing would flow. Like, it just wouldn't work. So the reason that you need to be disciplined is because if you want to get anywhere, if you want to do anything great in your life, you're going to have to encounter barriers, and the things that you want are hard to get. And the only way to get good things is to go through hardship, which requires discipline, because no one wants to do the hard things from face value. However, with something we've spoken about recently, there's two different types of want. And we had a very long debate about this with one of our friends, Moby, about the topic was everything you do, you want to do. And initially, I was like, no, that's absolute fucking not true at all, because I don't want to go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to stay up and do this work, or I don't want to go and cook this. I don't want to eat this, but you just got to go and do it, right? And I guess on a bigger picture, there is a bigger want at the end of the day. So even if you wake up in the morning and you don't necessarily want to the action of wanting to do it then and there, absolutely. However, the result of you going to the gym or not going to the gym is, do you want to be a strong and...
You don't want to go to the gym, but you want to have the body.
Correct.
You don't want to work at 12 until 12 o'clock at night, but you want to have this successful business.
Correct.
You don't want to go and have the tough conversations with people, but you want to have good relationships.
Absolutely.
And it is good, and it was a great conversation. Which I changed my perspective a little bit, because I went into it thinking about the same as you, really, in that, fuck no, I don't want to do everything I want to do. I do a lot of things I don't want to do. But I think everything you do ultimately aligns with something you want to do now, or something you want or need to do to get to the thing you want to be.
And the thing that, just touch on this very briefly, the thing that makes this such an interesting conversation is, can you just remind me of that maths term where something can be 99% right, so something can be right 99% of the time, however, if it's wrong 1% of the time, then the statement that thing is always right, or that thing is right, is incorrect, which...
I don't want to go into this too much because it's going to get very confusing very quickly, but back in school, it was, in specialist math, we learned the proof by induction, and basically what that means is, to prove that something is true, it needs to be true for every single circumstance. And by the process of proof by induction, you prove it for one thing, for one variable, then you prove it for that variable plus another one, which means basically two, and then you have to prove the whole sequence, which means that only then is that statement, or whatever you want to call it, is considered to be true. If it doesn't work for all of them, then it's not true. And basically what you said is that something can be true for 99%. So you can put in 1 to 99 as the value, and it can work. The statement, the math formula can work completely fine. And then you put the number 100 in, and it falls apart for some unknown reason. The formula falls apart. Then ultimately, the statement is not true.
Correct. And where I was getting at with that is, people might sit there and think, okay, well, if everything that you want to do aligns with your bigger want, the identity that you want to have and the person you want to be, so why do people go out and party? Why do people go out and drink? Why do people go out and gamble? And that's where it comes into this, because that is the more face value one. Like, that's an emotional one. Like, I want to do that right now. However, I don't want to be this person. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. However, I think in life, it's best not overanalyze things. And if you just take it for what it is, like, and take it for the positives, not the negatives, then you're bound to do a lot more than the people who are just pussies.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They're not going to even fucking try and make it sound fancy. Just don't be a pussy.
But at the end of the day, there is this huge plethora of mindset assets that you need to have to not only just have a successful business or be on your way to having a successful business, but literally anything. Like, let's, in sport, for example, you're oblivious to the depth and complexity of something that you have no idea about, that you're uneducated about. If you look at a sport and you think, let's say golf, right? Golf, you just go and you hit the ball in the hole. It's fucking so simple. You start playing golf, you realize all of the different swing paths, you realize how the contact on the ball to the part of the club face matters, which way the ball's going to go. All the different parts of reading, like, there's so many things that come into golf and like this swings, like so many things you don't realize. And it's the same, like rugby league, any athlete knows when you get into a sport, especially at a really high level, so many things that come into it.
And this can bring on a really interesting topic, because you hear people say all the time, like, oh, I'd love to be a professional golfer, or I'd love to be a professional footy player, I'd love to be professional at this. And like, people think, okay, if I love doing something as a hobby, I want to be a professional at that, right? And I think where it gets a bit lost in translation is, let's just say you go from a social golfer where you play golf every Sunday with your best mates, you have fun, you have some beers, you have a laugh, whatever. You decide, okay, I now want to be a professional golfer. You cannot play social golf on a Sunday anymore for two reasons. The first reason is, golf is no longer something you do for fun. You can't go there and hit a few bad shots and laugh it off, because if you want to be the best in the world and your actions align with your bigger goal, you can no longer just have a fucking hit for fun and whatever and laugh. No, you have to be serious about it. And then no longer do you just play golf when you want to play golf. You have to play golf when you don't want to play golf. When it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's a bit cold outside, you're fucking tired, whatever, you don't want to play golf. Fuck you. You got to go to the range. You got to go on the putting green. You've got to go play golf. And that's the same with business, right? People think, okay, I want to be a successful businessman because a successful businessman gets A, B, and C. And people think of that as like, okay, well, if I'm a businessman, I don't have to go to work like everyone else and go and do this when I want, do this.
I can do everything on my own terms.
I can do everything on my own terms, everything on my own schedule. And just going back to the job example, you can work Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday come along, you can be dead to the world and it does not matter. Whereas Saturday, Sunday comes around to the businessman, you don't want to work, fuck you, motherfucker. You've got to work. Like, it's not as simple as what it seems. Like, at face value, it seems fucking the best thing ever. It seems so perfect when anything that you try and be elite at, anything that you try to go to the next level in, you are bound to realize that it's not what you thought it was. Same thing happened with me in rugby league. I remember watching footy on the TV as a young kid, and I thought, oh, that's sick. They just passed the ball, and he's like ran through that hole, and they scored a try. And then going to such high levels myself and training and breaking down, like we would spend whole training sessions on running one set of attacking shape, and it's just every little thing matters. Like every angle, like if you're running a hole, you need to get to someone's inside, outside shoulder, whatever it be. The small details, the ability to catch and pass, have the ball fucking few centimeters more in front of you when you're running onto it. The little things is what makes that thing that flows so seamlessly that everyone sees the final product of. Those small meticulous details that no one knows about is what creates the foundations for anything successful.
This is, and what you were talking about in how in business you when the weekend rolls around and you think, I want to relax, there's none of that bullshit. That goes out the window. And that is the reason like we're so fucking strong at that right now, is especially because it's so emphasized in the first 6 months to 18 months of whatever you're doing. Like the first part of it is fucking working your ass off. Like with, there comes a time where you do all the hard work and then a long time down the track, you do reap the rewards of it. In a few years' time, when all of these midnight shifts finally fucking pay off, then it does become worth it, and you do get the benefits that you don't get from working a 9 to 5 or just any job where you have the security of money coming in every single week. Then it starts to pay off. But until then, what you said about weekends going out the window and there's no, I don't feel like doing it today, is so heavily emphasized in this stage of what we're doing.
It is, and it's just, honestly, it does annoy me because being someone who's only just stepped into this space, like being a businessman, just coming from school, everyone knows that. We've just graduated school.
It's actually, we're almost a few days out from exactly a year since we graduated.
It's wild, yeah. I think like 5 or 6 days out, which is crazy. But my point that I'm getting to is, like when we were in school, we'd watch lots of YouTube videos, primarily Iman Ganzi, Alex Hormozi. These entrepreneurs of great status who also offer great education, right? And the thing is, it's great to watch things from the perspective of someone who's already made it and someone who's already reached that success, because they can point out the things from when they were in the same positions as us. But I find it more valuable to actually interpret a message from someone who's going through that at that point in their life. So the messages that we're putting out is to resonate with the other people our age who are thinking of starting a business and the other people who have ambitions. And the reason it's so valuable is because we're experiencing it live and we're showing it. And the thing that I have a problem with is there's so many people who are our age, around this fucking age, between 18 to 25, that try to highlight that being a young entrepreneur is just so easy, and it's just, you get to go to the beach every day, you get to hang out with your friends, you get to spend time with your family, you get to do all this shit, and they talk about how leaving a job and not going that path creates such a life of freedom, when in reality, if you want any form of success in business, in anything, we've said it a million times, because I feel like we could say 1 billion times, and there's still so many fucking idiots out there who just think, oh yes, business, free time.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't overstate that there are so many people pushing the wrong narrative. Like, being young and having a business does not mean freedom. It means fucking lock in for freedom down the track. So it just annoys me when there's people who are in the same position as us, who are preaching to the people that we were last year, trying to sell them a false reality of what it's like. So that's what we want to put out, because we were those people and we wanted people like us. We don't want these dickheads who are saying it's so easy, because it's not.
It's not. 100%. And like I said, a lot of the time, we'll post day in the life of a busy day where we're doing cool shit, and sometimes we are doing cool shit. It's not completely fucking bollocks, but the message is that the majority of the time is doing the boring shit that nobody wants to do. there is the small portions of time where we are doing some cool business shit. We're going and having some cool meetings with people, and we're going to, we have the ability to move things around on the calendar if we need to. But on a large scale, it's doing the boring shit. And exactly right. Like, we want to highlight that that's very small portion of our time that we go and do the things that we want to do, and we do exciting things and are living the young entrepreneurial life and all of this kind of stuff is not the story. That's the highlights. And Instagram, everybody should know this, but Instagram is a highlights platform. Everybody posts the highlights of their life. They post the best things that are happening, but that's not everything that's happening. It's this 2% of people's lives that they put out there. And what we're trying to do, which we don't do completely, because we're not going to post 18 hours of us sitting on our laptops every day, but
We should. It'd be interesting.
yeah, the message is, it's not all fun.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
It's the truth. We wish we could tell you that it would be the best thing in the world.
And then the other thing of that is that people look at it like, okay, well, what if I'm young and I want to have a business, but I also want to have fun? Like, I had a friend say something to us the other day, and he was saying, are we losers for not going out and like not partying and not doing what everyone else our age is doing, all these things? And at the end of the day, it comes down to what you want to do and what aligns with the person that you want to be. Like, I feel so content spending every Friday and Saturday night fucking locked in, talking about making money, talking about bettering ourselves, working, waking up the next morning, feeling fresh and going again. Like, that makes me happy, and I feel content doing that. I don't feel the need to have to fit in with everyone else and follow these societal narratives that all the other young people are doing, because
I just want to add a point to anybody that actually cares about us. We don't hate our lives. Although a lot of it's shit and boring, we're not depressed and we don't hate our lives. We enjoy this shit. We enjoy it. So
that's right. I said this on the way here. Like, it's like a video game, right? So with a video game, you do the stupid shit. Like, let me break it down. I heard Andrew Tate talk about this in the video, and he was talking about specifically GTA. People will, and these strategy games, where you'll spend hours upon hours doing little boring shit in a video game. Like, an example, you're playing GTA, and there's like different missions where you got to rob banks, and you got to fucking sell drugs and do all this different shit, right? A lot of the time is like camping out in between things, and you've got to go and fucking drop this package off to someone. You got to do all this back and forth, little everyday boring shit, right? And people are doing this on a video game, just sitting there like, "Ooh, this is cool." And like, don't get me wrong, when I was younger, I felt the exact same. I was like, this is sick. I'm grinding. I remember used to fucking go into the gym in video games. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So silly. But people don't realize that's what life is, right?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing every single day. But these small little behaviors and these small little patterns and things we're doing is building our characters, but in real life. And like, yes, it may be the boring shit and whatever, but we get so much joy out of it because it's like a fucking puzzle.
Yeah.
You don't get 1,000 puzzle pieces out, put one on the fucking ground, and think, oh fuck, what the hell is this puzzle? It's a piece of shit. You put one piece together, piece after piece, you start to fucking see the picture, and it makes you happy.
Together.
Yeah.
This is a perfect time to circle back to the discipline part of it as well. And I feel like we are at the stage now where a lot of people would start to fall off. And I say that because we have now been for probably 4 or so months where we're really experiencing doing the boring, monotonous tasks, and you can suck it up and do it for a while, but doing it consistently and for long periods of time fucking gets boring. Like, it's serious. Like, there's a lot of times where you just don't want to do it, and that's why a lot of people would not follow through and stick to this for, let's say, another 2 to 3 years when the results are going to pay big time, and they miss out on it all. They do a little bit of work, and they oh yeah, this is just what you got to do. It's fine, and then they go, oh fuck this, I'm just getting nothing from it. I'm just doing all this boring stuff all the time. Like they get to that stage of doing a little bit of work, and then just fall off because
It's the valley of disappointment.
that's right.
That's where efforts and results haven't quite met yet, and you're in this period of your life where you fucking inputting so much, getting no output, and people give in right before they see the fucking graph just turn exponentially. So it's a shame to the people who stick it through and the people who have the discipline. Then that's what, like I said before, there's an entry level to good things, and it's hard work, and it's not easy. So it depends. Okay, it depends what your version of hard is. Whether it's hard for you to be disciplined and follow through on the actions it requires for you to get where you want to be, or if it's hard for you to feel the regret of not doing it. So you get to choose whatever your price of hard is.
Yeah. Owning a business seems so simple. You provide the product or the service, people pay for it, money hits the bank, all is well, all is good. That's so far from the truth. But as we spoke about before, when you start learning about something that you have not been exposed to or you are so undereducated on, you realize there's so much more to it. There's these taxes that you need to pay. There's these licenses that you need to sell certain things. You need to jump through all these hoops. You need to deal with clients, not ideal clients, that you didn't think you would have to. You think the whole process of business is provide something, get money, that's it. You break it down to that simple, but is really a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, it's 100% true, right? Everyone thinks that it's so black and white when in reality there's just so much little things. Like, I don't really need to go into too much more depth on it because we've spoken about it, but yeah, it's true.
The main point of this podcast is to kind of just, as we have, to highlight that it's not all happy days and live on your own terms and make $600 million as the first year in business. Like, there's a lot of boring things that you have to go through and you have to do. You have to take the good with the bad. And for anybody that's out there looking to start a business, go and do it. Like, we're not saying don't do it by any means. Go and chase what you want to do. Go and start the business. Go and start a new sport, whatever it is. Go and do it. But you've got to know that the truth is it's not going to be all pretty all the time.
That's right. Yeah. But don't let that stop you from going and doing these things. Like this, the point of what we're saying isn't to deter people from going and starting these things and fucking it's so shit, don't do it. Like it's not what you think it is. That's not the point at all. But it's for the people who are serious about it. It's just to highlight that if you actually want to go and start your own business, you want to start anything good, expect that it's going to be hard. Expect all these little things. Don't just think it is what it isn't. And for the people who now, and not just from what we're saying, but hopefully there's other people putting out the right message, if you realize that it's going to be more than what you expected, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Go and do something else, honestly.
This goes back to the message we spoke about, was it last podcast or the podcast before? In just go and do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Sure.
Life's too short to fuck around and do something that you hate doing all the time. If you don't want to start a business, have the stress of doing a business, don't fucking do it.
Correct.
If you want to go and have a job, like get a job that you love doing, go and do it. If you want to play sport, you want to be a professional athlete, go and do it. Go and do whatever the fuck you want to do, whatever it is. But realize that, to my understanding, I don't think you can have anything that's going to be absolutely perfect. There's always going to be some negatives that come with it, and that's just the way it is.
Correct, and also you have to realize that you can't undo anything you've done. So if you do something, make the most of it because you can't go back and change what's happened. And if you do something and it turns out it was the wrong thing, don't look at it as wasted time. Look at it as an opportunity to learn. Take the positives from it. As another message you touched on, like, try these things, don't try these things. Whatever you do, progress forwards.
100%. Keep moving forwards always. I mean, we're coming to the end of this podcast, and before we wrap it up and thank the 4 people for watching, we want people to tell us what they think of what we're talking about, and tell us if they think we're full of shit. Tell us if we said something wrong. Tell us if they have a different view on things. Tell us if they have an experience that is similar to ours. Tell us if we actually put out a positive message that you agree with. We want to know from our audience, whether that be 4 people, 50 people, 1,000 people, whatever. We want to hear from our audience. We want to know what people think.
Absolutely. It's the biggest thing in life is feedback, right?
Yeah.
So we don't just want to be putting out something that doesn't resonate with anyone. Like, yes, it resonates with us, but the whole point of what we're doing isn't only to express what is and isn't working for us, because the only people that matters to is us, but we want to try and put something out there that connects with the audience to be beneficial and help you guys in your journeys, whether you're 10 years into your entrepreneurial journey, and then if that's the case, if you want to give us some help, it's welcomed.
Please, if you want to, like I said, if we're saying something wrong and are so ignorant and so uninformed on what we're talking about, let us know. We'd love to come and learn some more.
That's right. So thank you everybody for listening to episode 4.
Yes, that wraps us up, and
We'll be back next week with, I actually don't know who we'll be back with, probably just these 2 handsome young men.
always.
Until then,